It's midnight on a private stretch of Miami Beach. The waves whispering against the sand. I am standing frozen behind a cluster of palm trees, my heart slamming so hard I can barely breathe. There they are. My billionaire boyfriend, Rafael, is walking slowly, hand in hand with my best friend, Isabella. She rests her head on his shoulder exactly the way I told her was my favorite thing. I never even knew they were talking. Not once, not a single text or call that I saw. And in that single frozen moment, everything I thought I knew about love, loyalty, and the glamorous world of dating a billionaire shattered like glass on the sand. Want to know how I ended up hiding behind palm trees, watching the two people I trusted most in the world betray me in the most painful way possible? Grab a drink, sit comfortably, hit that like button, and maybe even subscribe. Because this story gets darker and more twisted with every chapter. Let me take you all the way back to the very beginning so you can feel exactly how intoxicating and dangerous this love triangle became. It all started 6 months earlier at one of the biggest charity galas I had ever managed in South Beach. I was the lead event coordinator for a luxury foundation event, running around in my black tailored pantsuit with a headset on, making sure every detail was perfect. The ballroom sparkled with crystal chandeliers. The ocean view stretched forever, and the guest list read like a who's who of Miami elite. Billionaires, models, influencers, and old money families filled the room. I had been working 18-hour days for weeks, triple-checking the catering, the lighting, the silent auction, everything. I thrived on that pressure. It was my job to make impossible nights look effortless. That evening, I noticed him immediately. Rafael. Tall, commanding, with that quiet power that only generational wealth seems to give a man. He was not the loud type, flashing watches or ordering bottle service. He moved through the crowd like he owned the air itself. Our eyes met across the room while I was directing the waitstaff near the champagne tower. He watched me for a long moment, not in the creepy way some guests do, but with genuine curiosity. Later that night, after the main program, he found me near the terrace. "You handled this whole evening like a general," he said with a small smile. "I have been to hundreds of these events, and I have never seen anyone stay so calm under pressure. I want to know how you do it." I laughed politely at first, still in work mode. "Just years of practice and a lot of caffeine," I told him. But something in his voice made me pause. He was not hitting on me the way most rich men do at these parties. He seemed truly interested in the person behind the headset. We talked for 20 minutes right there on the terrace while the party swirled behind us. He asked real questions about event planning, about the stress, and about why I loved creating moments for other people. By the end of the conversation, he asked for my number. Not in a slick way, just honest. I gave it to him, thinking nothing would come of it. Billionaires like him met hundreds of women every month. But he texted the very next morning. Simple and direct. "Dinner tonight? No pressure. Just want to continue our conversation." I said yes because curiosity won. That first date was everything a girl dreams about when she pictures dating someone like him. A private table at a rooftop restaurant overlooking the ocean. The kind of place where the chef sends out special courses without being asked. Rafael was attentive, funny in a dry way, and surprisingly down to earth when he talked about his family business in shipping and real estate. He never once made me feel like I was just another event girl he picked up. He treated me like an equal. We started seeing each other regularly after that. 2 or 3 times a week at first. Quiet dinners, sunset boat rides on his yacht where we talked for hours, weekend drives along the coast in his convertible. He was generous without being showy. He remembered small things I mentioned, like my favorite coffee order or the book I was reading. For the first time in years, I felt seen. My friends noticed the change immediately. "You are glowing," they said. "Who is this mystery man?" After about a month, I decided it was time to introduce him to my circle. I invited a small group to a casual rooftop barbecue at my apartment building in Brickell. My closest friends were there, including Isabella. She had been my best friend since college, the one who knew every secret, every heartbreak, every dream. We had been through breakups, job losses, and late-night talks together. She was the sister I never had. Bright, funny, always the life of the party with her long dark curls and infectious laugh. Rafael fit in surprisingly well. He brought a few bottles of excellent wine, but nothing over the top. He chatted easily with everyone, asked about their lives, and even helped flip burgers on the grill. That night, I watched him and Isabella talk by the railing for a few minutes. Nothing strange. Just a normal conversation about her job in marketing and his travels. They laughed once or twice. I thought nothing of it. Later, when everyone left, Rafael kissed me goodnight and said, "Your friends are great, especially Isabella. She seems like a really good person." I smiled and agreed. How could I have known those words would come back to haunt me? The weeks that followed felt like a dream. Rafael and I grew closer. He started opening up about the pressures of running a multi-billion-dollar empire, about how lonely it could be at the top. I shared stories from my event planning world, the crazy clients, and the last-minute disasters I had fixed. We created our own little rhythm. He even started joining me for early morning runs along the beach sometimes, something he admitted he had not done in years. I felt like I was bringing out a different side of him, the side that did not need constant luxury to feel alive. But the first small twist arrived quietly one afternoon. I was at work coordinating another event when my phone buzzed with a text from Isabella. "Hey girl, just wanted to say I saw you and Rafael in that new little cafe yesterday. You two look so happy." I frowned because we had not been to any cafe together that day. I replied quickly, "Must have been someone else. We were both working yesterday." She answered with a laughing emoji. "Oh my bad, maybe I'm seeing double. Love you." I shrugged it off. People make mistakes. But something felt slightly off. That evening, when I mentioned it to Rafael, he just smiled and said Isabella is sweet, but she must have confused us with another couple. He changed the subject so smoothly that I let it go. The curiosity started building after that. Little things. Isabella would suddenly know details about Rafael that I had not told her. She mentioned his favorite whiskey once. She asked how his big shipping deal in the Bahamas was going before I had even shared that news. I told myself she was just paying attention when I talked. Best friends do that. But the detective in me, the same part that spots every tiny detail when planning events, started taking notes. Then came the weekend that planted the real seed of doubt. Rafael had to fly to New York for business. He was gone for 3 days. On Saturday night, I went out with Isabella for our usual girls' dinner. She seemed distracted, checking her phone more than usual, smiling at messages she would not show me. When I teased her about a new guy, she blushed and said it was nothing important. The next morning, she posted a story from a private beach club I recognized as one Rafael sometimes used. She was not tagged with anyone. Just her in a sundress with the ocean behind her and a caption that said "Perfect Escape." I stared at it for a long time. Rafael was supposed to be in meetings in New York. Isabella had not mentioned any beach plans. I didn't confront anyone yet. Instead, I waited. The love triangle was already forming in the shadows, and I had no idea how deep it ran. Rafael returned from his trip more affectionate than ever. He brought me a simple bracelet from a small artisan in Manhattan. Nothing flashy, just thoughtful. I wore it every day. But that same week, Isabella started canceling our usual plans at the last minute. "Work stuff," she said. "Family stuff. Always something." The dramatic twist that pushed everything into motion happened 2 weeks later. I was coordinating a high-end corporate event at a waterfront mansion. Rafael was one of the guests of honor. Halfway through the night, I stepped outside for fresh air and saw them. Not together exactly. But Isabella was there too, even though I had not invited her. She was standing near the bar in a stunning red dress, talking to Rafael. Their body language was too comfortable, too familiar. When he touched her arm lightly while laughing at something she said, my stomach dropped. I told myself it was nothing. Just friendly. But the seed of suspicion had been planted, and it was growing fast. That night after the event, Rafael drove me home. He was quiet in a way that felt heavy. I asked if everything was okay. He said of course and kissed my hand. But when I got inside my apartment, I opened my laptop and did something I never thought I would do. I checked Isabella's social media more carefully. And there it was, a story from earlier that evening. Her in the same red dress at the same mansion. No tag, no mention of me or the event. Just her and the ocean view again. The pieces were starting to click, but I still refused to believe it. My best friend and my boyfriend? Impossible. They barely knew each other. Or so I thought. The real intrigue began the following weekend when Rafael suggested a surprise trip to the Keys. Just the two of us, he said. I agreed, excited for time away. But the night before we left, Isabella called me, sounding strange. She asked if I was free for coffee. When I said I was packing for the trip, she got quiet. Be careful, she said softly. Billionaires like him always have secrets. I laughed it off. But her tone stayed with me. The trip to the Keys was beautiful. We snorkeled, ate fresh seafood, and walked the beaches at sunset. Rafael seemed completely focused on me. Yet every time my phone buzzed with a text from Isabella, I felt that tiny twist in my gut. Why was she checking in so much? Why did she sound nervous? I came back from the trip more in love than ever, but the questions would not leave me alone. Little did I know the biggest plot twist was already in motion. Rafael and Isabella had been secretly talking since the night of that first barbecue. He had asked for her number that evening when I was in the kitchen. She had given it to him, thinking it was harmless. One friendly text turned into daily conversations. One coffee meet turned into something more. They both convinced themselves it was innocent at first. Then it was not. The love triangle was no longer a possibility. It was already happening right under my nose. And the midnight beach moment was coming closer than I could imagine. The midnight beach betrayal was not the first crack in the fairy tale. It was the final one. But the real unraveling started weeks earlier with small moments that felt innocent until they didn't. Want to know how I went from glowing in Rafael's arms to hiding behind palm trees, watching him kiss my best friend under the moon? Let me pull you deeper into the story because the love triangle was not born in one dramatic night. It grew in the quiet spaces between texts, canceled plans, and the secrets people think no one will notice. After that rooftop barbecue where Rafael first met my friends, everything seemed perfect on the surface. We were in the honeymoon phase of dating a billionaire. He flew me to a private island for a weekend just because I mentioned loving the sound of waves at night. He surprised me with tickets to a sold-out concert and let me pick the after-party spot, even though his usual crowd would have chosen something more exclusive. I introduced him to more of my life. Brunch with my mom, late-night walks in Wynwood, where we looked at street art and talked about nothing and everything. He fit in so well that I started to believe this could last. But the first real unease came during one ordinary Tuesday afternoon. I was between client meetings, so I decided to grab coffee at my favorite little spot in Coconut Grove. The cafe was tucked away with outdoor tables shaded by banyan trees. I was standing in line when I saw them. Rafael and Isabella are sitting at a corner table near the back, not obvious. Not holding hands, but close enough that their knees touched under the table. She was laughing at something he said, leaning forward the way she always did when she was really interested. He had that soft smile reserved for moments when he felt safe. My stomach twisted. I ducked behind a large potted plant before they could see me. They were not doing anything blatant. No kiss, no touch that screamed affair. But the way he reached across to tuck a strand of hair behind her ear felt too intimate. The way she looked at him felt too familiar. I watched for maybe 30 seconds before I slipped out the side door, heart racing. I told myself it could be nothing. Maybe she ran into him by chance. Maybe they were talking about me. But why meet in secret? Why not text me to join? I texted Isabella later that day. Hey, how was your morning? She replied almost instantly. Busy with work, girl, miss you. Nothing about the cafe. Nothing about Rafael. That night, when Rafael came over, he acted completely normal. He brought takeout from my favorite Thai place, kissed me hello, and asked about my day. I studied his face the whole evening, looking for any sign of guilt. There was none. Or maybe I just did not want to see it. I did not mention the cafe, not yet. Instead, I started paying closer attention. The next twist came from Isabella herself. She had always been the jealous type in subtle ways. When I dated anyone seriously, she would make little comments. He is cute, but does he really get you? Or she would text me late at night after a date, asking for every detail, then go quiet when I said how happy I was. I chalked it up to protectiveness. Best friends worry. But after the cafe sighting, her behavior shifted. She started showing up at events I was managing uninvited. She would linger near the VIP areas where Rafael usually stood. Once I caught her watching us from across the room, arms crossed, eyes narrowed. When I waved, she smiled brightly and walked over like nothing was wrong. One evening after a yacht party I hosted for a tech client, I found her hiding behind a stack of chairs on the upper deck. She claimed she was just getting fresh air, but her phone was in her hand, screen facing away from me. When I asked what she was doing, she laughed it off. Just people watching, you know how I am. But her eyes darted toward the lower deck where Rafael was talking to investors. She was not watching the party. She was watching him, watching us. Jealousy had always simmered under her friendship, but now it felt sharper, more focused. I confronted her gently over brunch the following weekend. We sat at an outdoor table with mimosas and avocado toast. I asked if everything was okay between us. She looked surprised. Of course, why? I mentioned seeing her at the yacht party in that odd spot. She rolled her eyes. You are so dramatic. I was just bored and needed a break from the small talk. Then she changed the subject to my relationship. So how is Rafael? Still sweeping you off your feet? Her tone was light, but her smile did not reach her eyes. I told her things were great. She nodded slowly. Good, he seems perfect for you. Almost too perfect. The words lingered. Almost too perfect. The dramatic build-up continued with more hidden moments. Rafael started having unexplained late nights at the office. Isabella began posting cryptic stories, late at night. Stories of empty beaches or city lights with captions like sometimes you have to steal moments for yourself. I never saw them together again in public, but the absences lined up too neatly. A canceled dinner from him. A sudden headache from her. Both unavailable on the same Friday night. Then came the night that pushed me to the edge before the beach. Rafael had planned a surprise date. Dinner at a secluded spot in Key Biscayne. He picked me up in his convertible. Top down, with the wind in our hair. We laughed the whole drive. At the restaurant, he was attentive and romantic, even whispering that he was falling hard. I believed him. I wanted to believe him. But halfway through dessert, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Just a photo. Rafael and Isabella were sitting on a bench at the very same beach park where we were headed after dinner. Time stamped 20 minutes earlier. No caption. No sender name. My hands shook. I excused myself to the bathroom. In the stall, I stared at the photo, zooming in on their faces. They were not touching, but the way she looked at him was unmistakable. The same look she gave me when we shared secrets. I deleted the message, wiped my eyes, and went back to the table. Rafael asked if I was okay. I smiled, just a work thing. We never made it to the beach that night. I told him I had a migraine. He drove me home, concerned and gentle. When he kissed me goodnight, I felt nothing but cold. The next few days were torture. I did not confront either of them. I watched. I waited. Isabella kept texting like normal. Rafael kept calling every evening. But the photo burned in my mind. Who sent it? A friend of his? Someone from the event world who recognized them? Or worse, someone trying to protect me. The jealousy from Isabella became clearer in hindsight. She had always wanted what I had. The better job, the nicer apartment, and now the perfect boyfriend. She hid behind friendship while she watched us date. She probably told herself it was harmless at first. Just coffee. Just talking. Then it became more. And Rafael? He had the power to stop it. He chose not to. The beach betrayal arrived on a night I was supposed to be working late. I finished early and decided to surprise Rafael at his favorite quiet spot. I parked far away and walked the path through the palms. That is when I saw them. Hand in hand. Forehead kiss. Her head on his shoulder. Midnight. Moonlight. Waves. Betrayal. I didn't scream and didn't run out. I stood there until they walked away, then I turned and left. The questions burned hotter than ever. How long had this been going on? Did they laugh about me behind my back? Was the whole relationship a game to them? Did Rafael ever really care, or was I just the one who looked good on his arm until someone more exciting came along? The midnight beach betrayal didn't end with me walking away in silence. It marked the beginning of the hardest week of my life. I spent the next 48 hours replaying every moment, every laugh, every kiss, every quiet promise Rafael had ever made me. I cried in the shower until the water ran cold. I stared at my phone, willing myself not to text him or Isabella. I needed answers. But more than that, I needed to see their faces when the truth hit them. So I planned 3 confrontations, one by one, then all together. No screaming matches in public, no dramatic scenes for strangers to film. Just raw, honest truth in private spaces where no one could hide. First came Rafael. I asked him to meet me at the same rooftop restaurant where we had our first real date. Neutral ground, familiar but not intimate. He arrived looking polished as always, in a navy blazer, crisp white shirt, and that easy, confident smile. When he saw my face, the smile faded. "You okay?" he asked, sliding into the seat across from me. I placed my phone on the table, screen up. The photo from the unknown number stared back at him. He and Isabella are on the bench. Then another one I had taken myself from behind the palms. Midnight. Hand in hand. Forehead kiss. His eyes flicked to the images, then back to me. Color drained from his face. "How long?" I asked, voice steady, even though my hands shook under the table. He didn't lie. Not this time. 6 weeks, he said quietly. It started as coffee after that barbecue. She reached out and said she wanted to know more about you through me. I thought it was harmless. Then it was not. 6 weeks. Longer than I had guessed. Longer than the photo suggested. Why her? Why my best friend? Because she understood the world I live in, he said. No explanations needed. No judgment about the money or the pressure. She just got it. And she wanted me. Really wanted me. Not the lifestyle. Me. The words stung worse than any slap. Isabella had always said she wanted real love. Apparently, real love looked a lot like stealing mine. I didn't yell. I just asked the questions that had kept me awake. Did you ever love me? Or was I just the shiny new thing until something shinier came along? He looked down at his hands. I did love you. I still do. But I fell for her too. I did not know how to stop it. I thought I could keep both worlds separate. Separate. Like I was a compartment he could lock away when he needed. I stood up. I am done. I am meeting Isabella tomorrow. Then both of you together. After that, I decide what happens next. He reached for my hand. I pulled away. Do not touch me. Not until I say so. I left him sitting there alone with the photos still glowing on my phone. The next afternoon, I met Isabella at our favorite coffee shop in Coconut Grove, the same one where I had first seen them together. She arrived in sunglasses even though it was overcast. When she saw me, her step faltered. You know, I said simply. She removed the sunglasses. Her eyes were red already. I am so sorry, she whispered. I never meant to hurt you. Then why did you? Because I fell in love with him, she said, voice breaking. I watched you too, and it looked so perfect. I wanted that. I wanted him. At first, I told myself I was just being a good friend, asking questions. Then he started texting me. Then meeting me. I convinced myself you would never find out. That it did not have to change anything. It changed everything, I said. You were my sister. You knew every heartbreak I ever had. And you caused the worst one. She cried then, real tears, not the performative kind. I hate myself for this. But I cannot undo it. I love him. And I think he loves me. I didn't comfort her. I just nodded once. Tomorrow, Rafael's penthouse, 7 o'clock, all 3 of us. No more secrets. She looked terrified. What are you going to do? I don't know yet. But you both owe me the truth. All of it. The final confrontation happened in Rafael's penthouse overlooking the Miami skyline. Rafael stood by the bar pouring water into glasses like this was any normal evening. Isabella arrived first, sat on the edge of the couch, twisting her hands. I arrived last, closed the door behind me, and stayed standing. No one spoke for a full minute. I broke the silence. I know everything. 6 weeks. Coffee turned to dates, turned to kisses, turned to whatever this is. You both hid it from me. You both lied. Now I want to hear it from you together. No interruptions. No excuses. The full truth. Rafael spoke first. I never planned this. I loved being with you. You brought lightness into my world. But Isabella understood the weight I carry every day. The deals, the expectations, the loneliness. One conversation became two. Two became more. I told myself I could handle both. I was wrong. Isabella nodded. I was jealous, watching you two hurt. I wanted what you had. I told myself if I could just talk to him, maybe understand why he chose you, then I could move on. Instead, I fell harder. I am sorry for betraying you. I am sorry for everything. They looked at each other, then at me, waiting. I took a deep breath. I have spent the last 2 days questioning everything, my judgment, my friendship. My ability to love someone without losing myself. I thought this was real. I thought we were building something. Now I see it was built on secrets. Rafael stepped forward. I have a proposal. No more hiding. You both know about each other now. We could try to make this work. All three of us, together. No secrets. No lies. We could redefine what this looks like. I care about both of you. Maybe there is a way to keep everyone. The room went completely still. Isabella's eyes widened. She looked at me, then at him. A flicker of hope crossed her face. I felt the ground shift under me. Part of me recoiled at the idea. Sharing him? Sharing my best friend? It sounded insane. Wrong. Impossible. But another part hesitated. The part that was tired of being alone. The part that still loved the way Rafael looked at me when we were alone on the beach. The part that remembered how Isabella had been there for every breakup before this one. The part that wondered if traditional rules even applied in a world where billionaires rewrote them every day. I thought about my life before him. The long hours, the endless hustle, the quiet nights, wondering if anyone would ever see me the way he did. I thought about the glamour he brought to the security, the feeling of being chosen. I thought about Isabella and how losing her would carve out a hole nothing could fill. Was this madness, or was it just a different kind of love? One that didn't fit in boxes? One that could actually work if we were all honest. I looked between them. Rafael is hopeful, and Isabella is nervous. Both are waiting for me to decide their future. Open questions flooded my mind. Could I ever trust either of them again? Could jealousy ever fully disappear? Would I wake up every day wondering who he loved more? Would Isabella and I ever be true friends again, or would we always be competing? Was I considering this because I loved them or because I was terrified of losing everything at once? Was this empowerment or desperation? I did not answer right away. I walked to the window, looked out at the city lights. I need time, I said finally. Not days. Weeks, maybe longer. I need to figure out who I am without both of you in my life, the way you were. Rafael started to speak. I held up a hand. No promises. No pressure. If I walk away for good, you both accept it. If I come back, we talk terms. Real terms. But right now, I cannot breathe in this room with both of you. I turned and left. The elevator doors closed behind me. The city blurred past as I walked home. That night, I sat on my balcony with a glass of wine, staring at the same ocean that had witnessed the betrayal. I cried again, not just for the loss but for the confusion. For the tiny part of me that wondered if his impossible offer might be the only way to keep pieces of what I loved. For the fear that saying no meant losing them both forever. For the deeper fear that saying yes meant losing myself. Hope you liked the story. If you watched until the very end, thank you. Hit subscribe so you never miss more unfiltered stories like this one. I truly appreciate you being here. See you next time.